Hello, my viewers. Welcome to my channel, A Drop of Change. Today, we are introducing a different content of literature that is called Scholar Gypsy, written by the British Victorian poet Matthew Arnold. And from here onwards, Drop of Change, my channel will do some topics related to literature. So, this video is considered to be the first which pays testimony to my literary classes. So, the first poem which I am going to discuss with you is Scholar Gypsy, written by Matthew Arnold. And I need to keep you this in mind that for Matthew, there is not only one T but double T. And about the poet, as you all know, he is a Victorian poet, was born in 1822 and died in 1888. He was one of the great poets other than Browning and Tennyson in Victorian age. He was a classic poet in taste. He liked to imitate the serenity and tranquility of the Greek classic masters. Oftentimes, we see that he became very pessimistic in his attitude towards life, as he lived in an era where science and religion had conflict, because it was in the Victorian era that Charles Darwin published his book Evolution of Species. And before that, we had an assumption in your mind that God created man. And after that, all the assumption got tarnished, and it was relieved that it was not God, but man evolved out of evolution. So this created a tension between religion and science in many of the Victorian poets, especially Matthew Arnold. So this poem, it narrates about the anxiety, the tension that Matthew Arnold and many other Victorians had in their mind. So this is considered to be the magnum opus of Matthew Arnold. As we can see, this is a magnus opus. It was published in 1853. So if Matthew Arnold fame were to be rest in any single poem, I would say this would be this. And about this poem, you could see that there is 25 stanzas in this poem. It's a very lengthy poem. And in this 25 stanza, there is 10 lines each. And total 250 lines. The rhyming scheme, which I could say it's a bit tricky, A, B, C, B, C, A, D, E, E, D. So the 10th line of each stanza is shorter than other lines. The 10th line of each stanza is considered to be shorter than other lines. And the 6th line, you could see in every stanza, not the 10th line, but the 6th line is shorter than. In the first stanza, you could see, but when the fields are still, and here will I sit and wait, and air swift leadens yield, and all the 6th line is shorter than all other lines. The rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B, C, A, D, E, E, D. So this poem is based on a legendary character named Joseph Glanville, book titled The Vanity of Dogmatizing. And the poem, it narrates about a scholar who had lived in Oxford in 17th century. The central part of the character in the poem is the scholar Gypsy. And the structure of the poem, it is 250 lines. The rhyming scheme I have already mentioned. And the first 3 stanzas, go for you, call you, here, where the reaper, the screen, the snock. These 3 stanzas will explain you about the settings of the poem. And the 4th, 5th and 6th stanzas, these stanzas, it tells about Glanville legend. And 7 to 13 line stanza, it will mention you about the various places where the scholar Gypsy was seen by many people. And 15 to 23, you could see it compare and contrast the poem with the modern man. 24 to 25, you could see it warned the scholar Gypsy to flee from modern people, and Arnold places Gypsy in the pastoral settings. So let me explain the first 10 stanzas in this video, and the rest will be explained in the next video. So the first stanza, go, for they call you shepherd from the hill. Go, shepherd, and untie the wattle cogs. No longer leave thy wistful flock unfed, nor let thy bowling fellows rack their throats, nor the crop herbage shoot another head. But when the fields are still, and the tired man and dogs all gone to rest, and only the white sheep are sometimes seen, Crows and recrows the strips of moon blacks green. Come shepherd and again begin the quest. So in stanza 1, what we are seeing is, so this poem is all designed in the texture of a pastoral elegy. In the first stanza itself, we could see a shepherd. A shepherd is calling another shepherd. So one shepherd, or the narrator, he is in the company of another shepherd, and he sees that he had to do a lot of things. Go, they call you shepherd from the hill. So somebody is calling you from the hill. So this reveal the meaning that this particular shepherd is very busy at its pastoral lives. So if somebody is calling him from the hill, so you go and they are calling you, please go fast, go shepherd and untie the wattle coats, because wattle coats meaning the flocks or the sheep are not tied. They're calling you because you have to do a lot of things, because after you finish all your works, you have to come with me for a quest. Now you go, they are calling you shepherd from the skill. No, go shepherd and untie the wattle coats. Wattle coats meaning the sheep are all put in the pen. So untie the pen so they can come out and graze in the field. So go shepherd and untie the wattle coats. No longer leave thy blissful folks unfed. You no longer put the sheep unfed. You have to feed them well. Nor let thy wowling fellows rack thy throats. Because you should tie all them from the pen so they can grease and go. And you have to go home, satisfy your friends. They are all calling you. And after this, everything of your... So the waxing fellows rag their throats because your fellow friends are calling you aloud. No, the crop hermit shoot another head. So if you you go and finish off all your duties and shoot another head when the fields are still. When the fields are still meaning when all your duties are over and the tired man dogs all goes to rest. So when all the works are over, when everybody go to a home, when everybody go to a home to take rest, when only you could see at last the white sheeps are common seen, crows and recross the strips of moon blacks green. And when everything is over, when everything of your work is over, you should there is an expression which is used by the poet in order to design the stillness of work. Crows and recross the strips of moon blacks green. The moon blacks green is an expression, it's a beautiful expression. Blanche means the French word for white. For white, blanche means white. So the moon black whites means when the moon touch the green meadows, when the moonlight get filled in the green meadows, come shepherd and again begin the quest. So in the first stanza there is a reference to quest, and this quest is done by two shepherds, or the narrator and a shepherd, and the quest is to find a scholar gypsy. So in the next stanza we will move on more to the details. And here where the reaper was at work of late, in this high field dark corner where leaves its cart, its basket, its earthen cruse, and in the sun all morning binds the leaves. And here at noon come back his stores to use, here will I sit and wait, wail to my ear from uplands far away, the bleating of the flocked forces born, the distant cries of reapers in the corn, all the leave murmur of a summer's day. So in stanza 2, here where the reapers was at work of late in high fields and dark corner, where he leaves his cot, its basket, and earthen grace. So in the morning, sunny morning, he will binds the sheaves. Here at the noon, he will come to use. I will sit and wait. So what he is saying is, here where the reaper was at work of late. So everybody is in the work of there, because the reapers were all working late in high field, and they are working in dark corners. In its high field, dark corner, where he leaves his cot, basket, and its earthen vase. So in this dark corner, in the shady corner, they will put their cot, baskets, and earthen vase, and in the sun all morning binds the sheep. When there is morning, in the morning, the sunny morning, because when the sun is very at high, the sunny morning will binds the sheep. So this poem is filled with a lot of imagery, verbal imagery, which add to the beauty of the poem. And here at noon, come back, its toes to use. Here will I sit and wait. And at noon, what will happen? At noon, I will sit here. In the stanza, the speaker is speaking about, he is sitting in a dark, shady corner, a couple of sheets, hearing he works all the morning and comes to have its lunch in this shady corner. I will sit and wait here. Then I will sit, when I have to have my lunch, I will sit in this particular place, and he could hear the cries of reapers. So, the bleating of the flocked form is born. Here to my eye from upland far away, from distant cries of reapers in the corn, all the live murmur of a summer's day. So, in the lines, bleating of the floated flocks means I can hear the cries of reapers, loud voices of songs of the reapers who are reaping in distant fields. All leave murmur of for summer's day, listen to all happy noises of the summer's day. In stanza 3, screened is the knock over the high half-free field, and here till sundown shepherd will I be. Through the thick corn the scarlet poppies beam, and round green roots and alloying stalk I see. Pale pink convolvulus in tendrils creep, and air-sept legions yield. They send and wrestle down their perfume showers of bloom me from the August sun with shade, and I travel down to Oxford Towers. So in stanza 3, he described the place where he is sitting. It's a beautiful place, It's a beautiful place. Screened it's knocked over the high half-reaped field it is. Because one side of the field is fully reaped and the another side it have to be reaped. So it was such a beautiful place. He says that he screened in its knock over the high half-tree field. So the harvest is still going on. So today the workers have left and they have gone, but the field is half reaped. Another half is yet remained to be reaped. In the shady corner that he was sitting, surrounded by scarlet poppies. Scarlet poppies is a very beautiful flower, bright red poppy flowers, and they can see the green roots and alloying flocks there. And along with that, pink flowers of the convolvulus plants, that is round green roots and alloying stalk I could see. Pale pink convolvulus in tendrils creep. It's a very beautiful imagery. That is convolvulus trees, which is a creeper. Convolvulus plant means it's a creeper. So you can see convolvulus, sweet, leaden, fragrance flower all around. And leaden flowers, they showered their blooms or flowers. Then they send and wrestle down their perfume showers, because it's refers to the aroma of the flowers. It's very much soothing. It's a soothing, fragrant smell, and it descends in the air. Another flower called sweet linden has a very fragrant flower. As you understand, the swift, leaden, sweet, the ascent he is slitting down in a certain place. So it's leaden flowers, their bloom and their flowers, is very beautiful, very fragrant. Of bloom on the blend grass where I am laid, and blow me on August sun with shade, and I travel down to Oxford Towers. They protect me from August sun, the leaden flowers, because it's August. August, it's in sunny season. So it will be so hot and very much warmth. And this particular flowers actually bower me. They comforted me with shade so that I protected out of the sunny sun. And I travel down to Oxford Towers. As they sit there, as his comfort there, he could see in the distant places Oxford Towers. So he was in a very elevated plane. When he looked down, he could see the top part of the towers of Oxford University. This is how he set the background of the poem. So he is looking down and you could see the Oxford Towers. So this is where he set out the setting of the play. And near me on the grass lies Glanville book. Come, let me read the half-read tale again. The story of the Oxford scholar, poor of pregnant parts of quick inventive brain, who tired of knocking at preferment dogs, one summer morn forsook its friends and went to learn the Gypsy lore and roam the world with that wild brotherhood, and come as most men deemed to little good, but come to Oxford and its friends no more. So in stanza 4, what you can see is it's about the Glanville's legend of scholarship. As I sit here, I have a book by my side. That book is called Glanville's book. Let me again read this book, because Glanville book is the book where there is a there is a special mentioning about this scholar Gypsy. So let me read that again and again. It talks about a knowledgeable man who is very pregnant. Pregnant part meaning he was very knowledgeable man. Pensy means very thoughtful. It's a story of an Oxford scholar poor, because he was a very he was in chill penury, because he is very poor, was not a rich person. So maybe at that time there will be a class of there is a division of students based on their properties or wealth. Maybe this scholar is not a rich person, a wealthy person, but a very poor person, but he was a pregnant part because he was very knowledgeable, pensive, quick, inventive brain, meaning very thoughtful person, very intelligent person, and pensive meaning he was always dimmed in thoughts, was tired of knocking at permanent door on summer nook foxy. And what he is saying, this man was very intelligent, but unfortunately he was poor. Maybe at that time there may be class divisions, and he was tired of knocking on performance door. Was tired of performing at performance door. One fine morning, the scholar decided to leave the university and decided to join the wild brotherhood, because he was tired at knocking, because everybody is going from door to door asking for help, but he was tired of knocking for getting a chance to for his performance. And one morning, what happened? One summer morning, his friends and went to learn the Gypsy law. So one day, what happened? He left from Oxford University, and point of living, he left Oxford University and go with some gypsies in another way. Whether he favored or didn't favor, he didn't come back to Oxford University or his friend or to his friends anymore. Come as most men deemed to little good, but came to Oxford and its friends. He no longer decided to enter back to Oxford University. He never had made an attempt to visit Oxford University ever once again, and its friends never more. He never came back to Oxford to see his Oxford University or its friends anymore. So that is the end of fourth stanza. In the fifth stanza, what he is saying: but once, years after, in the country lanes, two scholars whom at college as he knew, met him and of its way of life enquired, whereat he answered that the gypsy crew, its mates, had art to rule as they desired, the working of the men's brain, and they can bind them to what thoughts they will. And I, he said, the secret of their art, when fully learned, will to the world impart, but it needs heaven sent moments for the skill. So in stanza 5, what he is saying is, he said that years later in the country lanes, two scholars home at college met him and our office way to life uncovered, whereas he answered that the gypsy cruises makes. So years after in the country lanes, two scholars who met college where he'd snow. Years after, what happened? Years after, when he left the Oxford University, two scholars from Oxford University, who was said to be this scholar gypsy's friend, met him of its way of life uncovered, and they inquired about the life of this particular man who had lived Oxford University many years ago, who is said to be two scholars from Oxford University, who were sometimes maybe their friends, maybe this man friends, where he's learned that the gypsy crew its make had art to rule, they have desired the working of membranes. So they uncovered the life of gypsy, whereat he answered that the gypsy crew its mate had art to rule, they desire the working of men brains. And it was when they inquired, he came to know that this particular man joined with gypsy, and gypsy, they know the working of the man's brain, because these gypsies have the power to control the man brain. They can bind to what thoughts they will, the secret of art, when fully learned, will to the world in part, but it needs heavens and moments of the skill. So this skill is said to be very difficult, and the scholar Gypsy, they have the power to control the human brain, and they can bind them to what thoughts they will. They can bind the human body to whatever thoughts they are wishing for, and he said the secret of their art, and they are trying to seek the secret of their art. When fully learned will to the world impart, it needs heavens and moment for this skill, and it's not a very easy task. They can make them think they will do, and he said that he are trying to learn the secret of their art, and when I learned, I am going to reveal that art to the whole world, and I will take some time, as it need heavens and moment for that skill. You will not lead the secret of the gypsies just because you are intelligent. You need a spark from heaven to learn the secret. So that he said he is waiting for that. So it's made its art to rule as it desire the working of man brain. So this particular art of gypsies have the capacity to control the human brain, and they bind them to what thoughts you can wishing for them. And I said, he said the secret of their art. You can learn the secret of their art, but in one condition, when fully learned will to the world impart, but it needs heavens and moments for the skills. But would you want to learn the skill? You have to need a spark from heaven in order to learn the skill. When fully learned, you can communicate all the secret to the whole. But in order to learn that skill, you need something. What is that? Spark from heaven. So in the preceding stanzas, what we have seen, it's a conversation that it designed between a narrator and the shepherd. In the first stanza, the shepherd seemed to be very much busy with its work. So the narrator is saying, you go and finish all the works, and after all the work is finished, you have to go for a quest. And in the next stanza, the Matthew Arnold, he designed a setting for the poem, because it's a reaper's field. One field is fully reaped, another it's said to be reaped, and they have seated in a dark corner, and you could see the coat, basket, earthen cruise of the reapers there. And at noon, when all the work is finished, they will sit there, and in the upland down they could see the Oxford Towers, and it was very beautiful. This is the setting of the poem. The next stanza, the third stanza, what you have seen is the arrangement, the scarlet poppies, the pink convolvulus creepers, and everything, the perfume showers, they all protected the narrator and the shepherd from the sunny sun, and their eyes to Oxford Towers. And there on their side, they had been reading one book called Ganville book. In that book, there is a story of an Oxford poor scholar who have little money, and he went from door to door for to make out its performance, but it went vain. And then he get out of the Oxford University, and he roamed around the world in order to and joined with some gypsies to learn some secret. So years after, two scholars from the same college, Oxford University, went for a quiz to find the scholar, and they found out that this scholar now joined with Gypsy, and he is learning a particular art, and that particular art had the capacity to control the human brain, and they will set the secret of their art. Then what else? In the fourth stanza, he said he left them and returned no more, but murmurs hang above the countryside. The low scholar long was seen to stray, seen by rare glimpses, pensive and tongue-tied. And he left the Oxford University and never returned back. And he could see that this scholar Gypsy had a very pensive meaning very thoughtful, tongue-tied meaning he will not talk much, and he had a pregnant part means very inventive part, and quick inventive brain. So years after, two scholars from they went on to find this man, but it has came to know that he had joined the scholar Gypsy, and he is learning a particular art. To make that particular art, but he wants a spark from heaven. So we had finished up to stanza 5, and now stanza 6. This said he left them and returned no more. But rumors hung about the countryside that the lost scholar long was seen to stray, seen by rare glimpses, pensive and tongue tied, in hat of antique shape, cloak of grey, same the gypsies wore. Shepherds have met him on the housed in spring at some lane ale house in Berkshire Moors. On the warm inch bench, the smoke frog bows had found him scented at their entering. So, this is stanza 6. We will finish stanza 6 very soon. So, in stanza 6, he left them and returned no more. So, he left the Oxford University, or could be said that he left the scholars and returned in no more. But scholars sang about the countryside. The lost scholar long was seen to stray by rare glimpses by many people. And out of the narration given by many people who have seen the scholar Gypsy, it has came to know that this man is very pensive. Pensive means lost in thoughts. Tongue tied. Tongue tied means he is not very talkative. He is very reserved kind of a person. He had worn a hat which is of an antique piece, and a cloak. The color of the cloak is grey. Same the gypsies wore. It's in the same style of a gypsy's dress. So many shepherds have met him in spring at some lawn ale houses in Berkshire Moors in the warm, and in Inn Hall bench the smoke frogged him had found him seated at their entering. At some time they leave the place as he did not feel more company. This said he left them. Maybe the scholars have left him and returned no more, but rumors springs around in the countryside that lost scholars, the scholar who had missed, have been seen by many places, just like a glimpses in many places. When they uncovered, this man is very pensive and not very talkative. He had wired, he had worn a hat of antique piece, and the color of the cloak is grey. And the shepherd had met some shepherd had met this particular man in spring season at some ale houses and in some in spring, etc. In stanza 7, but mid their drink and chatter he would fly, and I myself seem half to know thy looks, and put the shepherd's wanter in thy trace, and boys whom in lawn wheat fields score the rooks. I I ask if thou had passed their quiet place. So, what he is saying in stanza 7, amid their drink and chatter he would fly, and I myself seem half to know thy looks, and put the shepherd wanderer on thy trace, and boys who alone in wheat fields scare the roof. So, in stanza 7, now the narrator goes on to tell us about the various places he continued this legend. This man was met by two friends, and he went away from them and went away their own way, and he did not came back anymore. There arise so many rumors in the countryside, and many people say that they report have been seeing in the costumes of gypsy. So that's all the expressions in 6th stanza. In the 7th stanza, the poet says that I feel myself feel that I know you, and I say that I have put the shepherd wanderer on the trees, means I have given the duty of finding you to many shepherds and boys he works in the field, because he had assigned the duty to find this scholar gypsy to many shepherds and many farmers who are work in field, and the boys who learn in wheat fields rocks. I ask if you have passed in the quiet place, so I am looking for you, and keep asking other people whether they have seen you, and so say sometimes where I lie in the boat and moor to the cool bank. So he is not sailing the boat is tied and moored, but to some back, and sometimes in the summer head he just goes there and lies in its boat, and he watches the Kamna hills, green muffled hills. As he lies there, he wanders, shy retreat, quiet place in Kamna hills. He wanders to find the scholar gypsy who is somewhere inside. Shy retreat. Shy retreat is a transferred epithet, because this is a man who is hiding from others, who is very shy. So the shyness is compared to shady places. Okay. In stanza 8, for most I know, though loud retire ground, thee at fairy Oxford riders bride, returning home on summer night have met, crossing the stripping Thames at Bayblock height, trading in the cool stream thy fingers wet, and as the punk's rope chopped round, and leaning backward in a pensive dream, and fostering in thy lap a heap of flowers, and plunged in thy fields and distant Yanchfield flowers, and then thine eyes resting on the moonlit stream. So this man has been spotted or seen for most I know in the lowest retired ground at Ferry, Oxford riders. Blight returning home on summer night have met crossing the stripping. He said Oxford students when they go home on summer night that they have said that they have seen you crossing Thames at Bablock Height. So Bablock Height is a place in Thames where the river is very narrow. So people could easily cross over there as it's a narrow place of the river. They have seen in this Bablock Heights. Okay, they have seen in Bablock Height allowing fingers where this man is seen to allow his fingers or hands or fingers in cool water. You say it's playing with water, playing in cool water, allowing its fingers to trail in the water. And they have seen this man lying backward in a small boat. Punt meaning the boat is tight, it's not moving or going anywhere. A punt meaning boat in a pensive dream. He is lost in thought. He had got a lot of flowers plucked from some distant field in its lap. Its eyes are resting on the moonlit stream. In a trace like mode, this man has been seen. Then they land in the boat, then you disappear. You understood, I think? For most I know, loud retired ground, from there, Ferry Oxford riders death. So this man has been spotted or seen in many ground at Ferry Oxford riders. Blight returning home on summer night. He said the scholar students, riders meaning Oxford riders meaning Oxford students have seen you go on summer nights. You have seen crossing the stripling Thames at Bablock Height. It's a small place in a narrow place on river Thames, allowing the fingers. He's just playing in that water, allowing the fingers to trail in water at the bunt's rope. Bunt meaning boat ropes, chops around, and he is lostful in thought. Pensive dream means lost in thought, and he had with him a heap of flowers collected from various places, and his eyes are resting in a moonlit stream. And then the stanza 4, and then they land, and thou art seen no more. Maidens who from distant hamlets came to dance around Mayfield Elms in May, oft through the darkening fields have seen thee roam, or cross a strill to the public way. So in stanza 9, what the Matthew Arnold is saying that some young maidens have gone see you. They came to the Whitefield Elm. In May, farmers have all kinds of celebration because it is the summer season. The harvest is gone. So women, they dance around in Maypole. Maypole dance is a kind of dance where the girls are dancing around trees who are from hamlet. Hamlet meaning a remote kind of a village. A remote kind of a village is called hamlet. Distant hamlet come meaning from remote places to dance around Mayfield M in May. This dance is called Maypole dance, where the ladies are dancing around in Fifield Elm. So, off through darkening fields have seen thee roam, or crows a strill in the public way. Oft thou hast given them some store of flowers, the trail leafwood white anemone, dark bluebells drenched with elms of summer eves, and purple orchards with spotted leaves, and none had words she can report of thee. And what he is saying is that the whole thing is blocked because around a tree from Hamlet, crossing a stile in wooden barrier, crossing a fence, the whole thing is blocked between. There's a break, a law kind of fence where you can walk over it and getting into another road. They have also sometimes so happen he collect flowers. Okay. What he is saying is that when they land, thou art seen no more. Maiden from when the people who came to know and landed in that place, you are no more there. You have disappeared and go over other places. And also the maidens who are dancing in distance 5 places or have also seen you. or through dark fields have seen this roam. You have seen to be roamed in dark fields or cross your tribes in public way, and halls have given them stored flowers. Always you have stored some flowers in your hands, like dark bluebells, orchard, purple orchard, or dews of summer eves. You have collected many flowers with you, and that is the description in 9th stanza. And then 10th stanza, after finishing the 10th stanza, we can give the rest of the stanzas in the next video. And above Godstow Bridge, when 8 times here in June and many slitten summer shine flames, man who rose. So in 10th stanza, what he is saying is that when the sunshine is flaming, the slit covered instrument, slit is a curved instrument which is used to cut the grass, or cut the grass so that the side is, when they cut the grass, you could see some side is glittering. So they go to cool bath or the Lhasa. In the Lhasa, this man say that they have seen you standing above Godstown Bridge. They have often passed him in the river bank, overgrown and marked that they are outlandish because he dresses very differently from all others. Because I remember lived 200 years ago, they have looked at him and noticed that it's outlandish, meaning strange dress. Thy figures pale, very thin, the dark vague eyes abstracted our all wise with a very dreamy look. Then when they came back from breathing, you are gone. So when the sunshine is flaming, the skilt cut the grass or cut the crops, or it is the side is glittering in the sunlight. So you could say that about the Godstow Bridge, where 8 times here in June, a slit in summer shine flames. So here is a visual imagery of another scene, that is a Godstow Bridge, where the hay time is going on in June. The farmers had an instrument in their hand called slit. The man who go through this wild fields of breezy grass, when black winged shallows haunt the glittering Thames, to bath in abandoned leisure place, have often passed thee near. At that time you have seen by many persons who pass by their stride, sitting upon the river bed overgrown. Mark thine outlandish crab, thy figures pale, thy dark vague eyes and soft abstracted air. But when they came from bathing, you was gone. So what he is saying, this man is seen to be crows in the river bed overgrown. That mark, they are outlandish because he dresses very differently from others. And he remember it was 200 years ago this scholar had lived. It was outlandish, meaning a very strange kind of dress he had worn. Outlandish crab meaning dress. Thy figures pale, thy dark vague eyes. The eyes are said to be dark and vague, and soft abstracted air. Because a soft abstracted air means you always sit with a very dreamy look. Then they came back from bathing. When this man came back from bathing, you are gone. So this there is in this stanza, the farmers or the reapers have spotted you in Godstow Bridge in June, when they are cutting hay's frim with slit the instrument. The man who are working in wild fields with greasy grass, and they have seen you wearing some indifferent dress, indifferent in every way, and when they have gone to bath and came back, you are not longer there. So this is the end of the 10th stanza. We have 15 stanzas yet to finish. We'll do in the next video.